Or- we have Sagar sir with us from the Design Village, and of course, I also know a lot about other programs. I also know about for the courses like communication, product, space and interiors. Of course, space and interiors. The Design Village is one of the pioneers in the field of the space and interiors, but definitely the interdisciplinary, the transdisciplinary course. I mean, to make it very simple, it's a global program offered by the Design Village, and it will be started from the batch you are getting into. The degree will be also Bachelor of Design, and it is one exciting course. So, because I also don't have a lot of idea about the program, sir, so I'll be also very much pleased to understand about the course and program, and moreover, the entrance pattern, because every year Design Village gives a shock to me also, and they conduct some kind of examination that it's quite a challenging examination. So, definitely will put a light on that also. So, over to you, sir, and yeah, you can start explaining the students about the programs and uh, especially the international program.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sumit sir. It'll be great, guys, if you can turn your cameras on if you want to. No pressure, but I'll start with a brief introduction. So I am Sagar, and by education, I'm an architect. Then I did my education in design and then in city planning. And now I am the director at the Design Village, where I look after growth of the school. And we are every year out to find 150 students who can be at our campus and can look at design in a very different way. I'll take this opportunity to start a quick presentation because that's easier to go through and probably have a reference while we talk. But this is something that you will find when you visit the Design Village website or when you come to the Design Village campus. This is a phrase that is written everywhere on the campus. And when we talk about the idea of the Design Village, we always talk about the idea of a designer's ecosystem. And I want to take this opportunity to share that the Design Village is one of those rare schools in the country, in fact, in the world, one of those few schools that are founded, run, and managed by designers fully. So the founders of the school are designers from India, Netherlands, France, and different parts of the world, including architect Saurabh Gupta, including Professor Paul Heckert from TU Delft, including Jeroen Wenner, who is the founder of Fabrique, etc., who have spent a lot of time in curating this school. And the ecosystem is designed in a way purely for students who want to take design education back home. We are a school in partnership with the OP Jindal Global University, but a school based out of the university campus offering degree programs, which is Bdes honors degree, which is a Bachelor of Design honors that has comparatively more credits than a regular Bachelor of Design degree. And then a Master of Design degree programs that we offer with the OP Jindal Global University. It's a complex phrase.
So the
Where
degree students will be getting is from OP Jindal University, right?
Yes. So just to simplify, I think students have this confusion most of the time because जो colleges campus के अंदर होते हैं, they are generally called to be campuses of the university. But in India, there are 4 universities that are institutions of eminence that have this ability or freedom to be able to also offer a part of their education outside their campus. And in that, we have BITS, we have Shiv Nadar University, we have Manipal University, and we have OP Jindal Global University. And the Design Village is the design school that is offering degrees with the OP Jindal Global University at its campus that is housed outside the university. But there is a huge part of the education that happens on the Design Village campus.
Okay, that makes it very clear.
Yeah. I think I'll take some time to also talk about the idea of an ecosystem because it's extremely important. But the reason the Design Village is called a designer's ecosystem, there are a lot of design schools in the country and every school has its uniqueness. But the Design Village is a very industry-focused school. And in terms of everything, in terms of how we teach, in terms of where we are located, in terms of how our programs are curated, our curriculum, everything is meant to be focused on the industry. So the people that you see in these photographs are very sort of famous people in their own industries. And they are the ones who form the community of people who train you, share their experiences, come to the campus very often, spend time on different specializations, different knowledge that they happen to have on campus. From Karan Turani, Don Norman, Henry, Bergman, all these people, these are the ones who spend time at our campus. And there are several people who bring their knowledge to you in this kind of a system. But the more important part that comes when you look at this ecosystem is not just the people, but also the environment where we are based. So this is not a conventional sort of a campus that you will find with any design school, but this is the Design Village campus that is in Noida. And it is actually in a very core industrial heart in a sector within 2 kilometers of which you will find the best of designers running their own studios, running their own factories, running their own places to work with. So be it Gaurav Gupta, be it the office of Adobe, be it the practice of Arcom, be it the exhibition design practice of DFI, all these are within 2 kilometers and 5 minutes distance of the campus. And our students have actually got access to multiple labs within several companies and several studios that are based in this area, where they not only work inside the campus, but actually go outside the campus to work as well. So the campus is on two sides of the road, and for the uniqueness of its design, it was awarded the Forbes Award in 2019 that sort of gave it a very different level of prestige across the world as a school. Just to simplify, as we refer to the idea of industry centricity, and I have sort of summarized this before, but we are an industry-centric institution offering degree programs in collaboration with the OP Jindal Global University, in case any of us was not aware about TDV. It is extremely important for us to also understand when I'm focusing on why industry-centric as education. And I'm sure all of us have been looking at, because this is the time where you start searching for your school, you're searching, preparing for NIFT and ID. It becomes extremely important for you to understand why we have chosen the path to be industry-centric. But just as an idea, if you look at the numbers, the number of designers that have graduated in India has multiplied twice in the last 4 years after COVID. The average salary of designers that are there has been sort of stabilized as 40,000. Recruiter surveys find a lot of designers lack skills to progress further in their careers. Technological shift across industry is happening so fast that you need to know AI, you need to know technology like IoT, you need to know several things that need you to adapt in the system. And that's where our education at TDV is highly industry centric. So every year, and I would really be focusing on this, but every year the Design Village curriculum is relooked at based on what is happening in the industry and revised for every program based on what is the need of the industry in the next 4 years to come. And you will realize that the curriculum that you are studying, perhaps versus the curriculum that your seniors are studying and their seniors are studying, is going to have some differences, because the building blocks, the courses that you will take, the technology and the software that you will study will be very different from what was taught to them. And that's purely because we believe in the idea that technology is changing the industry very fast. So you need to have that adaptability in the system altogether. Our programs, I am guessing these are the programs Sumit sir is already aware of, and I'm sure you guys have also found them. But it's fashion and textile, communication and interaction design, product and industrial design, and space and interior design. And we offer both BDes and MDes in these programs. One common thing I want to, of course, share and have a look at is the programs you would find at other colleges will either be called fashion communication, fashion design, fashion styling, textile design, etc. Or you will have programs like animation, etc. But at TDV, programs are more horizontal. And the idea of horizontal is with the fact that our education is of a kind where we make you a very broad generalist in a subject, and then you can choose a specialization in that subject. So agar aaj ki tarikh mein aap, and this is where I can say it because I am an architect, a very strong learning I had over time was कि जब तक आपको structures की knowledge नहीं है तो आप building नहीं बना सकते. And that's something we were taught very hard when we were in the architecture school. So that's how we even believe in the idea of looking at a program, let's say fashion and textile, where we say that until you know the material you have to work with, until you know the idea of textile altogether, you cannot involve yourself in the idea of fashion. Or in today's time, for instance, the communication industry where you have graphic designers, they are very quickly switching between designing apps versus designing environments versus designing graphics. So you need to know the whole spectrum. You need to know the skill sets that are, of course, repetitive in all these spectrums, and you should have the ability to be able to transfer because the industry is changing very fast. So all the programs that you will find at TDV have this very unique nature of what foreign universities also happen to have, because they believe in the idea of making designers who can transcend across industries. But I will not take a lot of time on these because today's session is more about the transdisciplinary global program. It was just important to give an idea of what the school is. But this is a program that TDV has wanted to start for a very long time. And I think if I was to give a reason of why this program was not started early, is because we wanted to be in a position to be able to offer the best knowledge that comes along with the global program, because it's a program that comes with responsibility towards students. We have to commit of an exposure
So,
that is of a different
so
level.
sir, I have first question coming up that in all the programs, the Indian program, when we were filling the application form, there was option of ticking marking, tick marking the particular course one want to go for. But in transdisciplinary program, there was no option of the core course specific program. It was only student have to take the transdisciplinary course. So why so अभी इसको कैसे differentiate करेंगे हम?
I think मैं transdisciplinary का एक definition बताना चाहूंगा before we move to even the details of the program. But the idea of design, I think all of us need to understand, is much more than the idea of fashion or the idea of textile or the idea of space and interior that we all know. So in India, we have a lot of programs जिनमें हम specialization offer करते हैं अलग-अलग तरह के. But अगर आप globally देखेंगे, most schools में that teach design specifically, the idea of designers is that they are large problem solvers. So they have the ability to look at a sector, understand the sector, be able to sort of figure out what are the problems operating in this sector, and then find solutions in a creative way. So the terms like design thinking, the terms like lateral thinking, the terms like creative problem solving, जो आज की तारीख में a lot of companies are searching to hire people, come along in the transdisciplinary program. So it's a program which is where you are taught to be able to solve, let's say, a scenario where there is an example of saying that, let's say, an industry of a certain textile in Haryana is dying एंड लोकल लेबर उस पर काम नहीं करना चाहते हैं, बट वो इंडस्ट्री का वैल्यू बहुत है. तो यू विल नो द इंडस्ट्री एंड यू विल नो द वेज टू सॉल्व दैट इंडस्ट्री, एंड आप वो हैट पहन के उसको फैशन एंड टेक्सटाइल डिजाइनर की तरह भी सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. और शायद कल एक प्रॉब्लम जो बिहार के रिवर फ्रंट के साथ है, वेयर देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ पोल्यूशन हैपनिंग, आप उस प्रॉब्लम को भी पैरेलली एज अ सॉर्ट ऑफ अ स्पेस डिजाइनर सॉल्व कर सकते हैं. सो
तो
द
सर हमें
एजुकेशन,
डिग्री किस कोर्स की मिलेगी फिर?
तो आपकी डिग्री का नाम होगा बैचलर ऑफ डिजाइन ऑनर्स ट्रांसडिसिप्लिनरी डिजाइन.
Okay, understood. So the student can opt any of the thing under the label of transdisciplinary.
यस, सो आइडियली टीडीवी पे जो हमारे 4 स्पेशलाइजेशंस रन होते हैं इन द स्कूल विच वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट, इनके प्रोग्राम्स के सारे कोर्सेज आर रनिंग इन द स्कूल. लेकिन ट्रांसडिसिप्लिनरी डिजाइन स्टूडेंट्स के पास ये फ्रीडम होता है दैट दे कैन चूज कोर्सेज आइदर ऑल ऑफ देम फ्रॉम वन स्पेशलाइजेशन और दे कैन डू कोर्सेज अक्रॉस स्पेशलाइजेशंस. और हमारे पास और
सब
हमारे पास
सुनेंगे।
स्टूडेंट्स हैं जिनके पास बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरीज हैं. फॉर इंस्टेंस, हमारी एक स्टूडेंट है हु हैज डन अ सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ अ जर्नी, अक्षता, जिसने सारे प्रोग्राम्स सिर्फ फैशन के पढ़े थे in the modules, and she is now working at one of the foreign schools where she is trying to sort of the Royal School of Art, where she is trying to purely work on the idea of fashion and creating new textiles. और हमारे पास एक और स्टूडेंट है जिसने कुछ कोर्सेज फैशन में किए थे और कुछ प्रोडक्ट में किए थे, एंड राइट नाउ ही इज वर्किंग ऑन डिजाइनिंग द पैरा ओलंपिक्स ड्रेस फॉर 2028. सो देर आर वेरी डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स जिन्होंने इस तरह की जर्नीज की हुई हैं. बट एक ट्रांसडिसिप्लिनरी डिजाइन के स्टूडेंट के पास ये फ्रीडम होता है दैट दे कैन चूज ऑल कोर्सेज फ्रॉम वन स्पेशलाइजेशन और दे कैन चूज कोर्सेज अक्रॉस स्पेशलाइजेशंस. बट ऑफ कोर्स इन दिस प्रोसेस, क्योंकि ये डिसीजन मेकिंग बहुत डिफिकल्ट होती है, तो हमारे कोर्स में हर बच्चे के साथ देयर इज अ 1-to-1 मेंटर हु इज असाइंड, which is a designer working in the industry in a subject of their preference and who guides them very closely कि आपको कौन सा कोर्स लेना चाहिए in the upcoming semester based on the goal that you have.
Okay. So internationally, of course, we see a lot of these kind of program. In India, I think you will be one of the very first one to offer the program where you can opt for a overall. I mean, you have to choose your आप अपना module खुद चुनोगे, right?
हाँ, बिल्कुल. So in that way, even हम अपने प्रोग्राम में generally बोलते हैं freedom and responsibility because it is, I think, the reason we also have opened this program 10 years after TDV was opened. So this year, actually, TDV completed 10 years. And we've opened this program after this time because we felt that we have all the infrastructure and appetite to offer जो बच्चे को जितनी भी चीजें ऑफरिंग में मिलनी चाहिए फॉर अ गुड वैल्यूएबल ट्रांसडिसिप्लिनरी डिजाइन एजुकेशन. तो वो एक स्टूडेंट के पास, आई थिंक वी आर द.
So I have 4 questions already with me. And definitely for me, it is easy to understand. I'm in this field for 17 years now. So counseling करते करते college visit करते करते मुझे समझ आ रहा है. But for them it's definitely new thing. जब हम पिछले 4 महीने से communication, textile, fashion communication की बात कर रहे हैं, तो this becomes something new. So the first question is that student can take 4 modules from textile and say 3 modules from product and 1 module from maybe interior design. Then the placement which will be happening will be in which field?
सो इंटरेस्टिंगली, हमारे जो स्टूडेंट्स अभी हमारे पास काम कर रहे थे इन ट्रांसडिसिप्लिनरी एजुकेशन, जिन्होंने इन द पास्ट लिया है, नॉट इन अ ग्लोबल मॉडल, दे आर वर्किंग इन कंपनीज लाइक डिलॉइट. फॉर इंस्टेंस, वंशिका इज वन ऑफ आवर ग्रेजुएट्स हु इज राइट नाउ एन एसोसिएट
She's
मैनेजर
my
इन
student
डिलॉइट.
only.
Yes, yes, she's from DC, and she's right now leading a team of multiple designers who do brand design for other companies. So that is one example. Another example of a student who's placed in these companies is working in the government of Madhya Pradesh and is trying to work as a consultant there to solve problems in rural areas and solving those kind of issues. Another student is Sanj. I think he's also from DC, and he has actually he's the first candidate to start an incubator at the Design Village campus called the Center for Social Design. So that is third. A few of our students are working with Inc. Amsterdam, which is a company that works in social design purely across the world. So that is the fourth. So the students who work here generally are the ones who end up becoming more of managers of design people. I'll put it that way.
We make strategy builders.
Not just strategy. I think strategy के साथ so आप ऐसे मान सकते हैं they are jack of all trades. I'll put it that way. So they know the whole industry very well. They know how the whole design ecosystem works. They know कि कहाँ पे कौन से projects, कौन से sectors, किस तरह का resource, किस तरह का skill लगेगा. And they know how to loop in resources where the need is. तो अगर एक बच्चा
सॉरी या प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
जैसे एग्जाम्पल के तौर पे अगर एक बच्चा है जिसने फैशन में 2 मॉड्यूल किए हैं या टेक्सटाइल में 2 मॉड्यूल किए हैं और इंटरेक्शन डिजाइन के 2 मॉड्यूल किए हैं प्लस दे हैव डन अ मॉड्यूल लेट्स से इन स्पेस एंड इंटीरियर, this student is a very good fit for a company like Myntra that is designing an app for clothes and fashion.
So they need to figure it out. What I want to ask that they must be doing one deep specialization in 4th year. We call it the digitation or maybe the graduation project in most of the colleges. So वो कब चूज करेंगे और कैसे चूज करेंगे, क्योंकि ये सारे क्वेश्चन मुझे आ रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल। सो इस पूरे सिनेरियो में अगर एक बच्चे को चूज करना है कोर्स, तो आई थिंक आई विल मूव टू अ स्लाइड फॉरवर्ड बिकॉज दैट विल बी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग। बट हमारे प्रोग्राम की बिकॉज नेचर बहुत ओपन एंडेड है और इस तरह के प्रोग्राम इंडिया में ऑफर नहीं होते हैं और स्टूडेंट को बहुत गाइडेंस चाहिए होता है, तो इसीलिए हमारे इस प्रोग्राम का कोहॉर्ट फॉर द फर्स्ट ईयर सिर्फ 20 स्टूडेंट्स का है। But with 20 students, each of them will be guided on a monthly basis by one of the two really famous designers who will guide them on their direction कि आपका करियर डायरेक्शन क्या है, उसके बेसिस पे आपको कौन से कोर्सेज लेने चाहिए, आपको डेजिटेशन के आइडियाज किस चीज के अराउंड फ्रेम करने चाहिए। जो आप 8-10 कोर्सेज ले रहे हो हर सेमेस्टर में, क्या वो आपके लिए एक जर्नी बना भी रहे हैं या वो बहुत रैंडम हो रहा है। सो वो क्यूरेशन करने के लिए देयर इज गोइंग टू बी 1-to-1 मेंटरशिप इन दिस प्रोग्राम आइदर बाय प्रोफेसर वैनर or by Anna Noyons, both of whom are very famous designers from the Netherlands and are very closely associated with TDV.
Yeah, I have met them a lot of time from Design Village only.
Yeah. So it is a program that is, so I think which is where I wanted to refer to the slide where the idea is कि आपके पास freedom बहुत है in the program, but there is a reason where you have to choose a direction. And it is a program which is more on the lines of international education. अगर आप देखेंगे design
This is
के
only international. This is not Indian. Let me be very clear. This is not happening in India. So this is only happening in Design Village.
It is also, I think, because the Indian design industry needs to change. हमारा industry बहुत skilling based है और students have to see that designers have a lot more potential. Sumit ji, you have been a designer, so you know it very well, sir. That designers are actually people across the world who create deep impact, who are the ones who take decisions for governments, who are the ones who define how companies will work. In fact, I don't know if people are aware, but when the Stanford का पूरा incubation lab खुला था, the 30% of people in the Stanford area used to be designers. So designers can do a lot more than just work.
अब इसका बहुत important question है। इसके बाद we will get into the international side of the program. That is very exciting, of course, and I'll also love to accompany you for these programs. But what I want to ask is that student wants to go for fashion and textiles only. Majorly 80% fashion. चलो fashion and textile का मैंने एक example दे दिया और उनको सिर्फ 20% ही करना है बाकी प्रोग्राम ग्राफिक्स या कम्युनिकेशन या इंटीरियर्स। दैट इज पॉसिबल। मतलब हम अपने ब्लॉग्स को खुद बिल्ड करेंगे या एक लिमिटेशन होगा कि नहीं मैं सिर्फ 5 ही करिकुलम ले सकता हूँ फैशन से या 4 ही ले सकता हूँ आउट ऑफ 20?
ऐसा कोई भी रेस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है। अगर एक स्टूडेंट को अपनी जर्नी फैशन में बनानी है, दे कैन डू दैट। इनफैक्ट वन ऑफ आवर स्टूडेंट्स व्हिच आई वांट टू रेफर इंटरेस्टिंगली हियर is Akshita, who was in this kind of a program, who's on the left image. She wanted to specifically do only fashion, and she has worked on projects that are designed in the whole idea of looking at purely textile. So she is working on a fabric which works with the idea of saying how if our clothes could heal and the idea of if the fabric could heal. इन्होंने सारे modules भी fashion और textile के लिए हैं, and her journey has been curated purely with fashion and textile altogether. So students के लिए अगर आप देखेंगे तो ये 4 specializations actually एक opportunity build करते हैं, बट एक स्टूडेंट चाहे तो सारे प्रोग्राम्स एक स्पेशलाइजेशन से ले सकते हैं, which is what their mentor closely advises, and that's where the mentor will come in. इन सेइंग कि नहीं आपके लिए 10 कोर्सेज में से एक कोर्स आपको ये दूसरा लेना चाहिए, बिकॉज ये आपके बाकी 9 कोर्सेज को बहुत अच्छे से कॉम्प्लीमेंट करता है।
सर अब क्या है कि इस प्रोग्राम में हम जितना इंटरनेशनल हमें एक्सपोजर मिल रहा है वो डेफिनेटली रेगुलर प्रोग्राम में नहीं है। ऑफ कोर्स है, मतलब इस लेवल पे नहीं है जिस लेवल पे आप दे रहे हो, लेकिन स्टूडेंट को मन है कि नहीं मुझे इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवल भी करना है, इंटरनेशनल 20-20 डेज के लिए जाके एक्सपोजर भी लेना है, बट एट द सेम टाइम ही और शी इज क्वाइट श्योर कि मुझे करना तो लाइफ में ग्राफिक्स ही है। तो शी और ही शुड बी गोइंग फॉर द रेगुलर बीडेस प्रोग्राम which is graphic design, or he or she should go for a transdisciplinary program.
आई थिंक आई पुट इट इन अ वे कि जो ट्रांसडिसिप्लिनरी प्रोग्राम है उसका नेचर इज मोर अबाउट एक्सपोजर. It is more about the idea of seeing different industries. It is the idea of knowing कि अच्छा बाकी डिजाइन सेक्टर्स भी काम कैसे करते हैं. बट अगर आपके दिमाग में एक फोकस है, then also you can choose the transdisciplinary program. It is it is a way of seeing कि it is probably a difference between the regular and the transdisciplinary is that the transdisciplinary program is a notch above in terms of जो exposure आपको मिल रहा है, and that is why the program fee is comparatively a bit higher because आपके levels of exposure are much higher in that program as compared to the regular program.
So I won't say that it's higher. You are covering hotel, you are covering air flight, so I think it's going to cost on you only. But but 3-4 बच्चों ने जिसका सवाल यही था कि उनको बहुत श्योर है कि उनको ग्राफिक डिजाइन करना है, so they should be going for transdisciplinary or graphic design. So I think you have made it clear that under the label of transdisciplinary, you can still go for 70% graphic design, and you can opt for 30% of things you want to go for. Additional plus the international mentors will be there to guide you from step to step.
I'll give you a small example क्योंकि आपने graphic example लिया है, and maybe let me talk about that because fashion guy gave an example, let's say, of person somebody who wants to work in Myntra. But अगर एक communication design का बच्चा है जिसको graphic में बड़ा clear है कि मुझको graphic करना है, they can do all their 10 modules में से let's say they can do all 10 in graphic, or they can say I will do 7 modules in graphic, but I want to do 1 module in exhibition design जो space and interior के अंदर ऑफर हो रहा है because वहां पे graphics का बहुत रोल होता है. I want to do 1 module on print and motifs जो fashion and textile में ऑफर हो रहा है because that involves graphic of a certain kind.
ओके, तो ब्रिलियंट, तो मतलब स्टूडेंट ग्राफिक्स लेके उन सेक्टर में भी काम कर सकता है,
हाँ
फैशन एंड गियर्स में.
बिल्कुल, and that is where the idea is that a student should have exposure कि graphic and textile के graphic and communication के लिए उनके एंड पे कितनी अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी है. बिकॉज अभी क्या होता है, द वेरी साइलोड लर्निंग से आपको पता ही नहीं होता है कि आपकी नॉलेज से आप कंट्रीब्यूट कहाँ कहाँ कर सकते हो. दैट्स अ वेरी डिफरेंट. आई गिव अ वेरी स्मॉल एग्जांपल. सो ये बड़ा मेरे साथ इंटरेस्टिंग हुआ था. आई वाज स्टडीइंग इन जर्मनी एंड आई वाज इन आईआईटी रुड़की, तो वहां से आई वाज सेंट टू जर्मनी फॉर 1 year in terms of an exchange program altogether. And there I studied digital marketing because it was offered in the semester. मैं कहा थोड़ा बहुत सीख लेते हैं. I was studying city planning and architecture in India, तो I thought मैं कहा थोड़ा सीख लेते हैं, कुछ ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन होगा, नॉलेज होगा ऑल टुगेदर. बट फ्रॉम देयर व्हेन आई केम बैक इन इंडिया आई वाज वर्किंग फॉर अ कंपनी that was trying to set up in the market and they were doing B2B marketing and they did not know how to do B2B marketing. I fit that company so well because they said यार you are a city planner, तुम्हें समझ में आता है हमारा बिजनेस क्या है और तुमको क्लाइंट कैसे ढूंढना है तुमको वो भी पता है because you know B2B marketing. So that kind of a skill adds up where you can play a role larger than what you can play otherwise as a very typical graphic designer or communication designer, and that opportunity is available to a student who does transdisciplinary design, but the choice is in their hand. एंड ऑफ कोर्स बिकॉज इट्स एन ओपन एंडेड प्रोग्राम, इसीलिए वो मेंटरशिप हम बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मानते हैं क्योंकि एक एक्सपीरियंस मेंटर चाहिए जिसने पूरा जर्नी देखा हुआ है, जो आपके फ्यूचर ट्रैजेक्टरी को समझ पा रहा है, टू गाइड यू इन दैट प्रोसेस.
The student has to select the, so suppose I think it's a very important, very basic question that suppose a student have gone for the complete India course and they have done the foundation, can they move to transdisciplinary or they have to opt it right away?
Students can choose to work on the regular program. See, the first year is a foundation year.
So that's for them also, for
Yes.
transdisciplinary also.
That's there, but not for the transdisciplinary. The transdisciplinary programs, students after the first semester will go to Make Abu Dhabi, where they will learn to really make things in together. Though Make Abu Dhabi is something जो हमको बड़ा vital लगता है, जो सारे बच्चे करेंगे, other than the other emergence, but वो एक first year के बाद जाएंगे. So I think in the transdisciplinary, the choice option is there till the probably at the start of the program only because आपका शुरू से learning बहुत differently curate होगा. In fact, in transdisciplinary, in the first semester, we are trying to see if we can offer coding as a subject to students because आज के ज़माने में it's a basic requirement. Internet research, which is secondary research, which is so important for designers. So these are the subjects that are coming in the foundation year itself for transdisciplinary students because ये exposure चाहिए जब आप अपने international emergence पे जाओ, तो you should be able to make the most out of them.
the place you are taking all the students to Abu Dhabi, I have seen on internet that they have the world's largest 3D printer and they can print a house with a 3D printer, right?
Yes, in fact, it has certain machines that are not there, but I think design with the idea students need to make. And while as much machines we can bring on campus, हमेशा limitation रहता है. To make Abu Dhabi is something which I'll come down to, but make Abu Dhabi is a space which is meant for designers abroad. And a lot of designers from across the world come to work in Make Abu Dhabi. And that's a place where they sort of have every machine, like any machine that you would see in any part of the world, be it regarding fashion, be it about 3D printing, be it about any software, be it about even machines that are used for interior and space design in terms of furniture cutting, all those kind of equipment. Everything is there at Make. So it's a facility that is spread in acres just with machines that are used to make any kind and every kind of thing that is needed.
And students stay there for 15 or 20 days.
So students will go there based on every immersion. Some immersions are 10 days, some are 15 days, based on the kind of exposure and curated journey that is there. The immersions are meant in that direction. But her immersion में एक intent है. So I think I'll take that opportunity before I think we move forward. But हमारे program में majorly 4 चीजें हैं that are very critical. And other than all of those, what is more important? I'm sure every student आपके शायद Don Norman के बारे में जानते होंगे, especially after his India visit very recently. But but if any student is not aware, Don Norman is called the father of UX. And he was the person who was the founding, he was like one of the earliest people who was the vice president of advanced technology in Apple. And very recently, the Design Village Transdisciplinary Design Curriculum, which we have just announced some time back, won the Don Norman Design Award and became India's only institute to get this prestigious award in the history. So that's the value of the curriculum जो हम offer कर रहे हैं in altogether with this kind of a program. But while we are referring to the idea and curriculum is of course at the core of everything, उस curriculum को deliver करने के लिए 4 की चीजें हैं जो I was referring to. One of them is one-to-one mentoring to be personalizing your education, which is what we talked about with the industry leaders that we have in the program. Then the second thing that is there is certified workshops, because we believe कि आपका peer learning बहुत important होता है एक transdisciplinary education में. It is not about जितना आपको आता है या आपके friends को आता है, but you also need to know globally आप ही के age के बच्चे जो अलग top universities में पढ़ रहे हैं वो आज की तारीख में क्या education ले रहे हैं, क्या उनका sort of exposure है. And the current universities that we had our joint studios very recently is TU Delft and Politecnico di Milano. Both are in top 10 design universities in the world. And certified workshops are to be done for this group. So they will have 2 certified workshops, which are in the 3rd year and 4th year of the program, जब उनको design का एक strong understanding है, with international students from these universities coming to India. One of the times we've done this workshop in Chandigarh, once we've done in Gurgaon. So we want to do these kind of workshops for these students, where the idea of how students across the globe think. ऐसे 2 workshops में with top students, the students of transdisciplinary design will get this kind of an exposure in their 3rd and 4th year. But the third and the most important part is, I think, industry emergence. And these were very strongly debated जब हम अपने program को भी develop कर रहे थे कि कौन से emergence लिए जाएं, because when you think of emergence तो across the globe बहुत सारे opportunities होते हैं जो आप tap कर सकते हो. And that's where the whole curriculum committee and the board of studies came together to say that we want to have 4 large emergence that we have identified for students, जिसका आप question कर रहे थे. So in the first year, transdisciplinary design students at the end of first semester will be going to Abu Dhabi to spend around a fortnight with the idea of studying innovation. We call it innovation, and we chose Abu Dhabi for that reason, because Abu Dhabi is the fastest evolving region in terms of innovative development and design, and they are moving away कि पहले उनका oil based industry होता था, वो पूरा creative industries को ला रहे हैं. And they have built this huge facility Make in Abu Dhabi, which has, as I was talking about, every machine that covers technical, mechanical, all kind of professional requirements that are there to be made. यहाँ advantage बच्चे जब जाएंगे तो they will of course do these kind of machine making things based along with their faculty. But there are lectures on various things that are taught, like entrepreneurship, like creative thinking, like design thinking, जहाँ पर experts आके ये sessions लेंगे parallelly in that curated time जो यहाँ spend किया जाएगा. In the second year, we are actually restricting ourselves to India because we believe that India there's a lot more to see. So it is in the city of Auroville. I don't know आपके students if there is anybody from South, but Auroville is a very important town. जहाँ पे आप देखेंगे तो there is this whole idea of sustainability coming together, and it is completely different from India. And that is where we want everybody to go in the second year, because sustainability is the future of design and future of every industry. So the second year is about the idea of going to Auroville. The third year is about the idea of culture, and you need to understand culture and society very well, because ultimately tomorrow you have to design for people. Be it you design clothes or be it you design apps, you need to understand people very well. And that's where in the third year, the course is at Boy Boucher. But Boy Boucher is a very interesting place, which has, I'm sure if you search it online, you'll find all top designers have spent at least 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks once in their life before they died or before they sort of gave up on their practice at Boy Boucher. It is just the most creative place. So you don't even go to this place. You can't take a car to this place. You have to park, then you have to, I'm not sure Sumit sir अगर आप गए हैं यहाँ पे हमारे साथ कभी पहले.
No, Ankita has gone there twice.
Okay, so you have to
I
walk
have
a
no
lot,
idea about it.
then you have to cross a bridge over a river, and then you reach this fort where there are just designers living in this space, and you do very interesting workshops. So TDV has made an India pavilion here very recently at Boy Boucher. So that's the third year immersion that is there, which students will be going into the third year in the after the fifth semester, before the sixth semester. And then the fourth year, the immersion is in the manufacturing center of the world, which is Hong Kong. But Hong Kong has been chosen again with this idea because Hong Kong, very few years back, started using the idea of design to cultivate a strong culture, business, society, everything in terms of their city altogether. So the idea of design has been implemented in the city, and nearly every company is using the idea of design to improve their way of work. So the fourth year is in Hong Kong in China, and we also want to include the Shenzhen region, which is majorly about manufacturing because designers make things. So you need to know how do you take those things to a large scale. And that's where the fourth year immersion is about the idea of creating impact with whatever you have learned in terms of the previous years. But these are the four global immersions that we have in the program. And it is, I think, in this program of our global program, the idea is that हमें लगता है कि बहुत जरूरी है हर बच्चे के लिए exposure लेना. So the cost of the whole immersion, be it travel, be it living, be it sort of all the flight tickets, be it food, everything that is involved in this immersion is a part of the program fee in total. So there is no additional cost for students at all for these four immersions. And the reason for that is not because we wanted to include it, but the reason is that अगर आपको एक truly transdisciplinary education लेनी है, तो इन exposure के बिना वो education अधूरी है, which is what we don't want to offer. तो आपको पूरा education मिलना चाहिए. You should have so much of knowledge. You should have seen the world so much कि आप कल जब आप एक solution recommend करें या आप एक problem को study करें या कल को आप एक design propose करें, तो आपके पास exposure की कमी नहीं होनी चाहिए. And that's the idea with which these four immersions have been included in the cost of the program altogether, ताकि you get that exposure fully. Do we have any questions on this, or should I move forward?
So we can move forward. I have multiple questions, but I think that the time will come and I'll ask.
Okay. So I think the success of the transdisciplinary program, so I think the global version of this program has started now, but in the past भी हमारे कुछ बच्चे रहे हैं जिन्होंने actually खुद move out करके बोला यार हम कुछ transdisciplinary program की education लेना चाहते हैं. And this is the group of students who we have here who have won the two most prestigious awards. One is from the Cumulus Association of the Design Schools of the World, which we have won as the Cumulus Green Award very recently. And the second is from the Bio Design Challenge, which again happens with the Parsons School of Design, and again all these kind of big awards. हमारे प्रोग्राम के बच्चे जिन्होंने ट्रांसडिसिप्लिनरी एजुकेशन इन सम कैपेसिटी लिया है have won this award in total. The last and the most important part that we have sort of put across to have students motivated throughout the course, but to also give an opportunity, is that this education will create designers who can think very differently. And I don't know अगर students को TED के बारे में पता है, but TED is a very big platform that has, and I think you should search about it on the internet, but TED is the biggest platform for the most innovative minds who speak and share their ideas with the world. And that is where in TDV we have set up this idea for transdisciplinary design program that the students at the end of the course who has the best design project and the dissertation projects that they do. So whoever is at the best project at the end of the 4-year program will be given an opportunity to speak at the TEDx platform where they can showcase their idea to the world. And that is majorly to give them a kickstart to their career, because an opportunity like this gives you a chance to just present your work to such a wide amount of world with so many people viewing your talk at a platform as big as TED. And that's something which we have committed to because we believe कि जो designers इस program में study करेंगे उनकी knowledge is something which will be at a level very sort of different from the design education that is currently offered in India, and their ideas can take a lot more value when they go to the world. So that is something that is, these are some students, every year we've had our students. 2022, we had a student. 2024 is where I was referring ki Akshita, who did all course in textile and fashion, also ended up making something which was ideal for the program that we want. And she's now working on this interesting fabric where she's saying that if our clothes could heal our wounds and could help in that process. So that's a very interesting project she's doing right now with the Royal College of Art.
So the entrance exam pattern for these kids will be different than the regular one, or it will be same?
No, the entrance exam process, sir, at TDV is a very standard process, and I think probably if you want, I can share that parallelly at this point of time. But TDV's entrance, I think we have made some change this year again, which I would have to, I think I can share with you right now. But TDV's entrance process is very different from the regular process because we believe that AI and internet has made it very easy to cheat. And we don't believe in the idea of a very typical bookish knowledge because वो आप आज की तारीख में कहीं से भी ले सकते हो. So TDV's exam, most of our foreign partners who come to India say that it is an AI proof exam. So I'll use that as a term. But ours is a two-tier selection process. So there are two stages in the process that a student has to appear in. The first stage is called a examination that they give, which is like an entrance exam, but I don't see it as an examination. It's a very interesting kind of an opportunity that students have that they have to participate. So there are 4 questions they will have. All 4 questions are subjective and in which they have to use their stationery and material and all these things to create sort of their answer. So the first question, they need to create a collage. The second question is going to be the idea of creating an artwork. The third is about an audio. The fourth is about creating a certain kind of a video. But what we are gauging with this, how adept you are with the idea of using technology in design, how open-minded you are, how aware you are about different problems happening in the world. And while most students are aware, are you able to apply that to the kind of question we have asked? So that's the first question. There is no MCQ, there is no formal question, but it's a very different kind of a format and majorly intended to see because design is a very different kind of an aptitude. इसलिए देश में जितने भी design test होते हैं उनको design aptitude test बोला जाता है और entrance test नहीं बोला जाता है because we are trying to judge the aptitude. So the aptitude is more about that whether you have the knowledge is a different thing, but do you have the aptitude to be able to use that knowledge for designing something is what we are testing in the exam. But the second stage of selection at the design village is a stage where we end up doing group discussions. So you are there, you come into sort of a discussion with a group of a few students who have a similar program goal and a similar career goal as you. And you have faculty members who are also experts in those subjects. But we try to sort of understand and in a group sort of a setting, try to understand whether you are even so it's more of a format where it is not about just understanding you and saying whether you are a fit for TDV, but we also want you to take a decision and take a call whether the TDV program is a fit for the career goal that you have. So it's that kind of an interaction that we have, which is the second stage of the selection process. I think this is important to refer here, but TDV का जो जितना भी as an ideology है, and when we refer to the ideology of TDV, most universities have collaborations, but at TDV we have been very careful when we refer to any collaboration that has been done or any study that has been done or any research work that has been done to make TDV. TDV has purely studied only the top schools across the world. So that is where TDV's ideology happens to be there. And that's why I've thought it's a good idea to put across the rank of every school we've studied. But at TDV, we believe firmly in the idea that you have to learn from people who are doing the best in the world. And before TDV was made, there were several rounds of tours that were done to just study the idea of what is an ideal design program or an ideal design school. So we studied programs in America, Asia, and Europe from the top schools that were there in the world. Currently, our students across programs, I was talking about Vanshika earlier, but these are the kind of companies that our students are working in. So companies ranging from Tata, where people are working in behavioral research, which is a very sort of a modern stream for designers, which is one stage before UX design, where you understand कि user behavior भी क्या है and how do you go about working on that, to the idea of working on very traditional jobs like couture in Chanel Paris, which is Sumit. So there are students who are working across the world in Europe, in India, in Middle East, in Australia also now, on the idea of seeing design in very different ways. And this is our campus. So our campus is in Noida, and as I showed in the image earlier, it's in the industrial center. So there are two buildings that we have. The third building is coming up next to the new block, which is going to have state-of-the-art facilities in terms of studios. That is going to be there. But because we have a small campus, so we always ensure that our students should have access to cultural facilities and sports facilities, which is very important for your development. So TDV students, we have very recently struck this good partnership. So TDV students now have access to the Chilla Sports Complex, which is by the DDA authority, which is one of the largest complexes in the whole NCR region and has a sports stadium, cricket stadium, indoor pool, etc., everything. And the Triveni Kala Sangam, which is where students can take classes on music and culture to be able to build their profiles comprehensively and also sort of enjoy the college life that is something which is very important in today's time. But I would want to invite all our students to come to the campus whenever you would want to visit as an opportunity. We are in Sector 8, Noida, and we'll be happy to give you a tour whenever you are on this side of town.
Yes, sir. So there won't be any kind of portfolio around this time. There'll be a group discussion.
So
The sort of
there will be a group discussion in the idea of students coming into the interaction. And it is more like an idea where we try to know you, because we know हमारा selection process generally आपको पता है सर हमेशा early होता है. And we have our selection rounds in November and January because we only have 150 seats. So we want the best of the students to join us. And that's where we know say कई students का portfolio इस month तक ready ही नहीं होता है. So we do more of an aptitude test, which is in November and January, but I'm sure the group discussion round is an extremely engaging round because you also get to know other designers that are there in different parts, जो आप ही की तरह who are searching and seeking to know more about design, and you get to know from faculty members about their stories of how they have made the journey in design. So it's a very different format where we try to understand you, but you also get a chance to know about how designers from different places are.
What is the cost difference between the transdisciplinary program and the regular program?
So the regular program fee is 6 lakhs per annum, but in that program, we have merit-based scholarships for your performance in every year. The transdisciplinary program is comparatively expensive. It is a 7.5 lakhs every year. But in the transdisciplinary program, we don't have a scholarship because I think it is an expensive program. It is a lot of expense that we also directly are doing to provide a very different exposure to the student. तो आपका जो हमारा regular UG program है उसका fee 24 lakhs है, in which you can get scholarship on the tuition fee every year based on your performance as per a merit policy laid out. And हमारे global program का जो fee है that is 30 lakhs for the whole program, which is for the sort of without there's no scholarships in terms of merit because it's a very different kind of a format altogether.
Yes. But the degree in both the cases, students will be getting from OP Jindal University.
Yes, the degree is
Bachelor Design Honors.
The degree in all programs at TDV is Bachelor of Design Honors, and for Masters is Masters of Design from the OP Jindal Global University. So in fact, the OP Jindal Global University website is also going to be updated, and you should soon be able to see the Design Village as the design school at OP Jindal Global University. And yeah, so that's the degrees from OP Jindal in all programs.
Okay. I mean, one student is once again asking is that, according to you, if we have to choose a program in TDV, what will you say the core of TDV? It is textiles, or it is interiors, or it is communication. What do you feel that it's a core? Like NIFT is known for a fashion, as a fashion institute. What do you rate yourself as?
I think if you ask me, I will say we have two. I will put this question in a very different way, Sumit, and I'll share probably a very interesting perspective. But students को I think अपना choice at this time बड़ा interestingly देखना होता है. There are two kinds of students who are there. एक स्टूडेंट है जिनको बड़ा क्लियरली मालूम है कि मुझको एक इंडस्ट्री में काम करना है और मुझको इसी इंडस्ट्री में टिपिकली काम करना है, विच इज व्हाट दे नो वेरी क्लियरली फ्रॉम बिगनिंग. बट ऐसे बच्चे भी कम होते हैं हु आर वेरी श्योर अबाउट व्हाट दे वांट, बिकॉज आई नो इन टीडीवी फाउंडेशन के बाद बहुत सारे बच्चे अपना स्पेशलाइजेशन बदलते हैं. So that is where we recommend that you go for a specialized program. And in TDV हमारे programs क्योंकि industry centric हैं, I think all four programs have their exposure, but the space and interior design program has RCOM within the campus. So it is one of the biggest architecture and interior design practices in India, which is inside TDV campus on a floor above. तो आपको वहां पे तो एक अलग exposure मिलता ही है. And parallelly, I will say the communication and interaction design program is the second one, which again has a very immense exposure because of DFI, which is Design Factory India, which is also a part of the campus, not inside the building, but 5 minutes away, where students go and spend time in that place to do a lot of things. But otherwise, in our fashion program, students spend a time in Shades of India. And in sort of the product design program, they spend time with Ms. Aarti Agarwal, who is running this furniture studio in wood. So everybody has that exposure. But of course, the space and interior program specialization में बहुत focused है. And communication and interaction design program is also at the same level as the space and interior program. But on the parallel, I would say if there's a student who knows the idea that they want to spend time and they want to do more of research, they want to have an idea and use design for larger things, for them, the transdisciplinary program is what is meant to be.
Transdisciplinary that does have a foundation, but it will be having its own foundation, a different kind of foundation.
I think the foundation will have more components than a regular foundation. I'll put it that way. तो आपके पास जो फाउंडेशन कोर्सेज है वो तो बेसिक होंगे बिकॉज यू हैव टू स्टिल गैदर द स्किल्स, स्किल द एप्टीट्यूड जो बेसिक आपको चाहिए. लेकिन द लेवल ऑफ एक्सपोजर इज गोइंग टू बी, आई वुड से, मच मोर देन व्हाट यू विल हैव इन द रेगुलर प्रोग्राम्स, बिकॉज अगेन दैट प्रोग्राम इज पैकिंग बहुत सारी चीजें विद इन 4 years. इनफैक्ट आई शुड शेयर दिस, जब हम ये प्रोग्राम डिजाइन कर रहे थे तो डिबेट भी हुआ था कि इस प्रोग्राम को 4.5 या 5 साल कर दें, बिकॉज इट्स अ huge program, but we said no, I think let's find a way to make it in 4 years. And that's where the advisors found a way to make it work. So with the exposure that it has, the foundation has additional things that the students will do. And I don't want to hesitate in sharing, but the transdisciplinary design program students will not have a winter break, but the regular program students will have, because in their winter breaks we are going to actually utilize some time and take some time from the semester and take them abroad. So they will have a shorter break as compared to the programs that the regular ones are, because हमारे पास curriculum बहुत packed है, and it's 4 years is very short time for design, because you have to learn to make, to think, to do a lot of things.
So the students who are going for fashion, who are going for interiors, who are going for communication, and they're getting into transdisciplinary, once again the question remains same, that the that मतलब कुछ स्टूडेंट अभी भी वही पूछ रहे हैं कि will the fashion design centric students should go for this program or not?
Yes, certainly. I mean, see, it depends on the level of exposure. So I'll put it in a way, agar I am a space and interior design student, as you were mentioning about the make facility, and if I do a space and interior design program at TDV, I will probably be spending time. And if I have the, agar mere paas ek ability hai or I have the finances to support my education and I can do a transdisciplinary global program, I will recommend doing that, because उस case में आप first year में you go to make Abu Dhabi and you learn about 3D printing of buildings altogether, because you are getting an exposure जो आपको regular program में you will sort of be restricted with. Or if you go ahead with the second year exposure of sustainability, you will see hundred of sustainable design buildings that are there in Auroville. In the fourth year in Hong Kong, you will actually get to see a lot of impact being done in terms of building design purely using space. So ये exposure जो है इनमें आपको you will get a specialization exposure of a completely different notch that is not there in the regular program. But you will also have the freedom if you want to say that, okay, well, out of the 10, I still want to do 2 programs from communication and interaction design. You can do that. And I can assure that every student who will choose a very specialized program will end up doing 1 or 2 modules, because हमारे सारे programs के modules इतने interesting होते हैं that you will want to say कि अच्छा, I want to do this one module that will allow me to say कि अगर एक कल को मैं building बना रहा हूँ तो can I design digital walls, because that is something communication and interaction design में पढ़ाया जाता है, that you know to create large screen walls that have interactive technology, so that you can use in your buildings tomorrow.
सर जो फीस हमारा 30 लाख विद इट इंक्लूड द ट्यूशन फीस एंड एयरफेयर एंड होटल, और देयर इज सम अदर फीस इन्वॉल्वड फॉर द इंटरनेशनल लाइक जो बाहर जाएंगे?
The 30 lakh includes the total fee for the whole program, including the tuition, including the university fee, including the examination fee, including the fee that they have that will be incurred for all the 4 industry immersions with certificates, and the 2 certified workshops that I said with top universities of the world that will happen in India. So all this is included, plus the one-to-one mentorship is also a part of the tuition fee. So that's a total comprehensive fee for the program. The living is not included. For that, the hostel fee is additional if a student wants to opt in for the hostel.
Okay, the international hostel or Indian?
Indian hostel. International, everything is covered, but in India, it is there. The airfare, everything is included. So the fee includes everything that is required for academic requirement. And
Plus international travel.
these immersions are a part of credited courses. So they are a part of the academic requirement.
Okay, I think this clears a lot of doubts. And I think you have moreover covered everything, because a lot of students had the question about the transdisciplinary program, like we call it a global program. So, so if anyone has any kind of question, you can now raise your hand if anyone have any question. Otherwise, I think sir has answered most of the questions. And if there is no question, definitely you can send me the question. I can forward it to sir, and he can answer you later on also. I don't think there are more questions, because sir, we have covered almost everything. And Nikhil has a lot of questions regarding fashion design. So I think that I'll give him the number of the counselor so that she can, or he can guide Nikhil well about fashion course. So thank you so much for the session. Yes, Avantika has one question. Yes, Avantika.
Yes, sir. You mentioned a system about modules and courses. Can you expand on that a bit, like how it works, how you select courses?
Yeah, certainly. In the transdisciplinary program, Avantika, or generally across the school?
Sir, generally.
Okay. So at TDV, the curriculum is very interestingly curated, where अगर आप curriculum को देखेंगे तो in most design schools the curriculum is generally an I-shaped curriculum. तो आप बहुत डीपली एक स्पेशलाइजेशन पढ़ते हैं. बट आई वाज रेफरिंग टू द काइंड ऑफ कोर्सेज जब आप चूज करते हैं, या यू हैव हैपन टू हैव मॉड्यूल्स ऑफ डिफरेंट काइंड्स. Our programs are very horizontal. So if you look at even the nomenclature of fashion and textile, it is a module where you learn about both the fashion and textile industries in terms of a horizontal way. तो हम आपको उसमें at the industry level, we teach you about how does the sector operate, what are the kind of skills you need, what are the kind of technology that you need to know about, what are the kind of business models that are there, etc., etc. But then every student has some difference in their education because there are multiple modules जो fashion and textile में offer हो रहे होते हैं. So some students might have an interest in saying that, okay, well, I am more inclined to fashion, but somebody might say, okay, I am more inclined to textile. And they end up choosing their direction of courses in a certain way. Some people might say, okay, well, I want to do more kind of courses related to fashion communication. So they will choose more courses that are aligned to those directions. But her semester में आपको 2x to 3x choices दी जाती हैं that you can choose from. So some courses are standard जो हर student को करने हैं. Then some courses are जो हर fashion and textile student को करने हैं. But then there are some courses which make you a very different designer because आपने वो किया है लेकिन शायद अनिष्का ने अनिका ने नहीं किया होगा. So हर बच्चे का कोर्स कंपैरेटिवली डिफरेंट होता है, बट यू मेक दोस चॉइसेस बेस्ड ऑन दैट. Transdisciplinary में the added thing that comes up, Avantika, is where in that program you can even switch across specializations. तो while freedom बढ़ जाती है, the chances of making mistakes also increase, and that is where it is so closely guarded by a mentor, जहाँ हम कहते हैं कि नहीं नहीं आपकी एक जर्नी का मीनिंग बनना चाहिए in the end. तो एक मेंटर आपके साथ एक टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं. आई डोंट नो अगर आपको अवेयर है, बट टीडीवी में व्हेन यू स्टार्ट योर कोर्स, this is a practice we have followed for 10 years, that every student writes a manifesto. So when you have your orientation week, you actually have a class where you are asked to write your manifesto, which is like your goal. So you say, okay, after 4 years, I want to become a designer who can do this, has done this, etc., etc., etc. And your faculty works very closely with you. आपका curriculum पूरे class के 150 courses जो बच्चे होते हैं उनका curriculum देख के बनाया जाता है कि okay, well, this is what should be offered, ideally to fit कि बच्चों की career goals और aspirations ये हैं. एट द एंड ऑफ फर्स्ट ईयर यू रीलुक एट योर मैनिफेस्टो एंड रीडिजाइन इट, बिकॉज आपकी अवेयरनेस बढ़ जाती है. तो आप कहते हो नहीं, लास्ट ईयर तक मुझे शायद इतना ही पता था, मुझे लगता है कि मुझे ये 4 चीजें और पता होनी चाहिए, तो आई वांट टू अपग्रेड माय मैनिफेस्टो. And in the second year, the modules that are offered are done so closely and curatedly based on that, because हमारे पास the only advantage TDV has is we have only 150 students who we can accommodate. So we have that freedom to give this kind of opportunity जो बाकी schools at larger scales are not able to bring to the table. While they have their other benefits, but they are not able to bring this kind of an opportunity जो आपको module choice में मिलता है. Was I able to
Yeah.
answer the question?
Yes,
I
sir.
think
Thank you very much. This is very helpful.
Thank you.
so. Thank you so much, sir.
Shania, yeah, Shania has a question as well on the normal programs. Do you want me to answer that?
Sunaya, do you have any question?
Yes, she has written on the chat on a direct message. Does the normal program also have such trips? So Shania, there is a exposure immersion on Abu Dhabi that is there for every student. The reason for that is that we believe that the Abu Dhabi का जो facility है, that is extremely important for everyone, and I want to also talk about that. But जो हमारे चारों programs हैं उसमें Abu Dhabi immersion has been included, but it is at a different time. It is not after the first semester, it is actually after the first year, because that is when you complete your foundation year and you make a choice and say कि अच्छा अब मुझको एक specialization finally close करना है अपना. So some students say कि I want to change it, some students say I will continue the same, etc., etc. In that process, आपको first year के end पे we take to Abu Dhabi to spend some time on every specialization and learn about what each of them means, so that when you come back and take a final decision, your decision is very aware. So ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि आप बोलो कि यार मुझे बाद में लगा कि स्पेस एंड इंटीरियर के अंदर तो बहुत कुछ कर सकते थे लेकिन मुझे पता ही नहीं था कि स्पेस एंड इंटीरियर में क्या क्या है. तो आपके लिए वो एक इमर्जन क्यूरेटेड होता है टू गिव यू दैट डायरेक्शन, बट इट इज अ वेरी डिफरेंट इमर्जन ऑन द लाइंस ऑफ एक्सपोजर as compared to जो immersion transdisciplinary में है, which is on the lines of innovation, where you learn about just innovatively making things with technology.
Understood. Done. So we'll do
Yeah.
one more question if we get more questions. I think moreover we have covered all type of questions, which includes the program, which includes the modules, which includes the places will be going, the tuition fees and the entrance examination. So I think moreover we have covered everything, and anyone wants to visit the design village, they can always contact me and I'll fix up your uh, tour, and you can meet the faculties and you can meet sir also.
Thank you so much, sir. And I'm sure there are any questions तो आप हमको भिजवा सकते हैं. We are happy to answer them over email. If you need any email ID, I can drop it in the text. And sure, sir also has it. It's admissions
Yeah,
at
message, I'll forward it to the student.
and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you would want us to.
Thank you so much, sir,
Thank
for
you so
taking
much,
out.
sir.
Thank you, and happy Diwali in advance.
Thank you so much. I'll see you before.